I welcome you all to this session on CV making and LinkedIn profile creation. CVs create the first impression in the minds of the employers, and they are the first introduction of the prospective candidate. How impressive the CV is decides the course of action of the placement. To make you all learn and how to create LinkedIn profiles, we have a special guest today, Ms. Supriya Agrawal. She is editor, The Humming Notes. But before we begin the session, I invite Professor Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DMA Media School, to share his thoughts and views on the session. So,
Good morning, everybody. So, this is indeed an important event or important session happening today because after a very, very long time, we have gradually started moving towards the physical mode. And that too, on a weekend, we are organizing this session. Because earlier this practice has evolved during the last 1.5 years, so that we have forgotten about the days and the timings since everything is online. So anytime anything has been happening. But then this is good in the sense that if the learning process remains on always, that is to everybody's benefit. So this Saturday's event, because every day something or the other is happening, so we have to buy time to organize some important thing, and this is going to be a very important session, very fruitful session to everybody in the sense that those who have now reached second year or third years and those who are ready to enter the industry. So the most important thing, you have to have a CV which is impressive, and wherever you are sending your CV, then that is in any case the first and the last impression. So if your CV, the quality of CV, the presentation of your profile is good, then obviously half the work is done. So that is how this session has been organized for you people. And also, since Supriya Agrawal will also be talking about this LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn is again such a thing. If I don't know how many of you are having the LinkedIn profiles already. How many of you are having already the LinkedIn profiles? Can you tell me? Everybody, but still there are few who haven't. Okay. And then this is what that you should have a LinkedIn profile, and the another thing linked to this is how effectively you have made it, how presentable it is, how you have put all relevant contents at the appropriate places. That's another important aspect of LinkedIn. And the third most important aspect is how frequently or how wisely you are using your LinkedIn profile. Most of the students, because since the time we have started insisting on LinkedIn right from the beginning, and for the last 2 to 3 years, we have been asking each and everybody to have the LinkedIn profiles, and not only the students but the teachers as well. Because earlier that practice was more or less not done in most of the cases. And in the case of the newsletter, since we take out this fortnightly newsletter, we have also started this practice. Those among you who have been part of the newsletter team must be understanding this, that whosoever is writing a news report for the newsletter, the name of that student, the name of that author is clickable to his or her LinkedIn profile. So that's the kind of interactive newsletter that we tried to create last year, and we are continuing with that. So this means if you are creating something, you are writing something, and that is clickable, then anybody can directly reach to your LinkedIn profile. But what I have experienced for the last more than a year, that the students who have created their LinkedIn profile, they hardly use it. So, and then also as far as the number of contacts is concerned, I have experienced that on an average 20 to 30 or at the most 40 contacts might be there in the LinkedIn profile of a student. This means you are not frequently using it, and if you don't use it, then whatever good profile you would have created, you will not get the desired result. And as far as internship is concerned or jobs is concerned, LinkedIn is the most effective thing which I have experienced myself. I do not need any jobs, but still every week I get 1 or 2 job offers, one good offers. So that is how I have experienced that how important LinkedIn is. And as far as the developing your contacts is concerned beyond jobs, beyond that, if you want to create a space for yourself in the professional world, whichever industry, whichever profession you might be working, for that also that will open the world view for you. So I believe that the kind of input that you will be getting in today's session will be handy and will be usable, and you will be able to use LinkedIn in a better way, and you will be entering the job market with a better CV. So that is how I'm looking forward for a very beneficial and fruitful session today. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. Tina Bora to introduce our esteemed guest.
Good morning to all. Well, our guest, our resource person for today is Ms. Supriya Agarwal. She's a senior editor with The Humming Notes. She's the founder and editor of The Humming Notes. She has over 14 years of industry experience and has expertise in editing and writing with a keen interest in Indian heritage. She has also headed projects of national and international level and written in many prestigious publications, including Outlook Traveler, Architectural Digest, Lonely Planet, Hindustan Times, Mint, to name a few. She was also featured editor for India Perspectives, the magazine of the Ministry of External Affairs, with a circulation in more than 172 countries. I welcome you, Supriya ma'am, and I hand over the session to you. I hope the students will have a lot to learn from you today. Please.
Thank you, Tina ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Can't hear. Good morning. You need a lot more zeal to enter the job market than this guy. So, good morning. Good morning, ma'am. That's exactly. So, after the heavy introduction, so don't get intimidated with all those heavy words. I'm still a student. I was a student for Vishal, so I still consider myself a student. So obviously today's session is about CV making and LinkedIn profile creation. So I'm assuming that all of us that are here are looking for jobs and you're applying for jobs, and that's what the session is largely about. So any one of you have thought about it when you started doing the course, that what is it that you're looking for in your careers? Anyone can give me an answer for that? You can raise your hands if you have an answer for that. Okay, so that exactly is the point. No matter if you make a brilliant CV, when you sit in front of an interviewer and you don't have an answer to this question, not that it's not a very basic cliched question, but this is something that I would suggest that you go back and think about it. What is that you want to do with your career? A CV is just a technical aspect of it. Like a camera can enable you to shoot a picture, but how to frame it, what do you want to shoot with it, is something that needs to come from you. Exactly the same way, what is your goal in your career is something that needs to come from you. I can give you techniques to create a good CV, but when you sit in front of an interviewer, talk to them, and in fact, when you do a job search, how do you search your job is based on what it is that you have in your mind when it comes to job search, and what is the purpose of basically your career. So most of you, I've heard, have already have LinkedIn profiles, right? How many of you have LinkedIn profiles? Sorry again. Most of you. And how many of you use it regularly? So what's the first thing that you think about doing when you go on a LinkedIn? Yeah, please.
I generally follow a few good pages. So, like we use Instagram, I use most time LinkedIn. Like I have liked using LinkedIn now.
Okay.
So basically, I look for internships, job offers, but basically I have followed few good pages. I learn from them and read articles there, and so this kind of activity I do basically on LinkedIn.
Okay, okay. Anyone else? Yeah, please.
So, mostly I use LinkedIn for searching jobs and freelance work
Okay.
and internships as well. So, I'm into filmmaking, so I usually go on LinkedIn and search for jobs related to this particular field,
Okay.
be it AD or be it art directing or anything like that, be it cinematography. So, mostly I search LinkedIn for these purposes.
Okay. So you know the topmost people you can follow, you can see what they are doing. Sometimes they also post jobs, they also look for people. And also if you start interacting with them on their post, that will also create like a recall value as we call it. So you know when you constantly interact with them, and if you happen to meet them or if you happen to interact with them offline, there might be a recall value. I'm not saying there will be, but there are people who will have a recall value for that. So as I said, in your mind you need to have a very clear goal when you go for a job search. So how many of you are into say camera here? Anyone? Just one person? And what else? Who else? Editing? Writing? Any writing? I can see about 5 hands. Okay, so any of you can tell me what it is that you look for a job when you apply for a job? So you are a writer. What is it that the kind of writing that you want to do?
Screenplay or script writing.
Okay.
Article writing and blog writing.
Article writing, blog writing, another very big area that you have picked up. What articles? What kind of blog writing? So I would suggest always create a niche for yourself. Always create a niche for yourself. So sorry, you were saying something. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So what kind of articles that you want to write? You want to write news articles. You want to write feature stories. You want to write long form pieces. What it is that you want to do. Obviously create a niche for yourself and do everything else obviously to make yourself more employable, if I may say. Okay, so obviously it's not something that you can figure out in 15 minutes or an hour of a workshop, but I would still suggest go back and think about it, what it is that you want to do. Create a niche for yourself and that will make you unique. So say for example, if I write on Indian heritage or if I edit pieces or research on Indian heritage, the employer will know that okay, let me search Indian heritage and what other names are coming. So then they know that this is the person who does Indian heritage as a niche. Obviously I do other kinds of work also, but that's my forte. So that's something I have expertise in. I've been doing it over, every day over the years. So something they can bank upon. They should be able to. So from an employer perspective, in the last 14 years, I've seen so many CVs. I've hired so many people. So when I look for one thing that is in the CV, obviously there are technical details. From where they have done their education, what if they have worked somewhere else, not. Their summary tells me what it is that they want, but what is their expertise? Can I bank upon this person with my project? That is something from an interviewer point of view, from a hiring manager point of view, is what I look for in a person. Okay. Any one of you know a difference between a resume and a CV? No, okay. So there are two things when you apply. So let me call it a job application tool. Okay? So let's not call it resume or CV. Let's call it job application tool. Okay. So there are two types of job application tools. One is a resume. One is a CV. CV is basically Latin for course of life. So see your CV, which is called curriculum vitae, is Latin, and that's largely about the entire journey of your career. This is something largely required in academia, and or if you're applying for higher jobs, like if you're applying for very senior positions where they need to know, your trajectory, your past track record, where they need to know every nuance of your career, so that they know that. So if you're applying for, say, head of a department. So they need to know what you have done and Can you handle the department? Will you be able to deliver? So that is something a CV is required. At your level, more than a CV, you require a resume. So resume is a shorter version of a CV, which kind of concise everything together. And since you guys are at a very entry level, you still need just a foot in the door in any of the organizations. Have you guys, any one of you done any internships anywhere? Where all?
Currently, I am pursuing internship in Upfluencing Youth.
Okay. And you said
I'm Z Media.
Z Media. Okay. As
I'm content department.
in the content department. Okay. So exactly. So your internships, if you have done any educational qualification, then of course your certification, if you have any. These days, a lot of organizations, especially the bigger organizations, they have a lot of CSR initiatives, which is your corporate social responsibility. In that, it's always beneficial if you have done any kind of social work. If you have done any kind of so if you have done that, also mention it. So you have to make sure that your resume is not beyond 1 or 2 pages at the most. I would like to believe that in your cases, most of you, because you're just starting, 1 page is enough, because your resume just needs to give the interview basic information. It won't give you anything beyond that, because a standard question that we generally ask a lot of people is tell us something which is not in your resume. That's a very standard question everyone will ask you. So as I said, your resume or your CV, later in the career you will require a CV also, but they will ask you what it is that is not there. And also, trust me guys, no one wants to read your hobbies in your resume. You just chuck it out immediately. If any of you have hobbies in your resume, especially CV, maybe at a later stage they might like to understand what other things that you can do, but at this stage no one wants to know what your hobbies are. We are more concerned about what kind of work that you can deliver. So do that. So obviously, as I said, there's a difference between a resume and a CV, and at this stage what you require is more of a resume. We could not connect my system with the projector, otherwise I would have showed you certain examples, but I'll email it to Tina ma'am and she can show it to you. And there's also a template that I've created that you can use and create a basic CV. Also, you have to see what kind of a job you're applying for. That also matters a lot in your CV creation. So if you're applying for a content job, it has to match up. If you're applying for a graphics job, then it has to show that you have, that 1 page needs to tell the hiring manager, okay, this person has some caliber when it comes to graphics also. So you have, as I said, your goal is very important. Your CV, your resume is just a technical support. Okay. So ensure that whenever you're looking for a job, whenever you're applying for a job, you're creating a CV, see what kind of a organization am I applying for. Go to their website, see what kind of a website that if it's too creative, then mold your CV, mold your resume accordingly. If it's like they like to keep it simple, mold your resume accordingly. Don't go for one size fits all. Doesn't work in the industry, because the industry is constantly growing, especially after COVID. It has changed drastically. Everything has gone upside down. So if you're applying for a newspaper, they still be living in a Stone Age era. But if you're applying for an OTT platform, if you're applying for a website, if you're applying for say National Geographic, they might require a different kind of a CV, they might require a different kind of a resume from you. So, it'll be good to slightly match the color scheme also of the organization that you're applying for. So that tells the interviewer, that tells the hiring manager that you're genuinely interested and you're not sending your resume just out there like that. So these are some of the pointers that you need to keep in mind when you're creating your resume, who are good in content, and simultaneously you might be good at graphics also. But you can't be applying for both content and graphics in the same resume. Obviously, there are hardly any job profiles I have seen where they require both of it. So obviously, so when you create your resume with your name, so say for example, how would I write? Supriya Agarwal, researcher. Supriya Agarwal, content writer. Supriya Agarwal, graphic designer. So you have to ensure that the job that you're applying for and your core competency, which is immediately after your name, needs to reflect that. So they know exactly who this person is and what this person can bring. Then of course your summary and objective. Some objective is that what exact, again coming to the same point at the risk of sounding repetitive, is your goal. The what it is that you're looking for in that job. So if you're applying for say a camera person job, if your area of interest is programming and not news, and if you want to kind of cover certain kind of programs, that needs to come in 2 lines, just 2 lines, not more than that. Don't overdo anything. Then of course your skills. So you're good in Microsoft, you're good in MS Excel, Final Cut Pro, Photoshop, Smoke, Lightroom. What is your competency also in that area? So rate yourself out of 5. So say for example you say, I think I'm pretty good at Lightroom, so I would give myself 4 out of 5. But also when you do this, ensure that also keep in mind that the person who will be interviewing you or maybe your hiring manager is 5 out of 5. So they might ask you questions. So be very honest with yourself. Don't think, I will impress the hiring manager if I write 4 out of 5 and they get impressed. It doesn't work like that. I'm telling you from the other side of the table, I'm telling you it doesn't work like that. They will ask you questions, they will ask you, they might even ask you to give a test. So be very honest in your resumes. You can use good words, but don't go beyond the point that might come across as a lie. Okay, so never do that in your resumes. And then of course professional experience, if any. Always start with the most recent one. It's like in descending order you have to do it. So wherever you are currently, so say for example, I'm editor, the Humming Notes 2016 to present. Then before that, I was with Outlook Traveler 2013 to 2015. If you want to mention months, you can do that as well. So that is something that you do in descending order. And then again your education. So right now if you guys are pursuing bachelor's in journalism, if I'm correct? Yes. Okay, so bachelor's in journalism, before that your 12th, and before that you can mention 10th also if you have done it from any other board, ICSE, CBSE, whatever. But beyond the point, after 5-6 years, if you do your graduation and tell them your 12th, that should be enough. You don't need to go beyond that after that point of time, after 4-5 years. And then if you have done any kind of certification, like in my case, I've done radio and television journalism, but I've also done video editing simultaneously. So that's an additional certification that you have done. So if you have done any kind of certification, this is still optional, because most likely when you will be applying for your job, your core competency and your professional experience indication should reflect everything. But if you think there is a certification, if you have done specifically for that job or matches with the requirement of that job, then I would suggest that you do that. And then of course your basic contact details and languages. If you know more than one languages, I would suggest, especially if you're applying for a national kind of media house. So say for example, if you're applying for a Times group, so they have Hindi, they have English, they have Bangla, they have all sorts of languages. So if you know more than one languages, mention that, or also mention the proficiency. So if how good you are at. Are you at a professional level? Are you at a basic level? Are you at a intermediary level? So that they know that if they can use you at more than one places. Okay, so these are the things that you need to do. Also, one thing that I have noticed over the years, that especially in the initial few years, obviously we don't have that kind of an experience also, but what I find missing is choosing the right words and issues with grammar in CVs, in resumes rather. So whenever you make your CV, and these days I think you guys are slightly more lucky than we are, because you have so many options with you online. You know, you don't have to break your head and go for look for a dictionary and a thesaurus. Everything is at your fingertips at the just right accessible for you. So when you make your CV, ensure that you look for good words. Ensure that you look for, especially grammar. Like even if you're using the simplest of the words, but if your grammar is on point, it still might click with a hiring manager. But if your grammar, especially people who are applying for content, if your grammar is out of the way, I mean, someone like me might not even look at that CV beyond a point, that resume. So obviously there are certain jobs, but I would still suggest, like if you are going for a technical job, maybe 1%, 2% discount the hiring manager would give. But I would still suggest that if you're doing something, even the simplest thing, ensure that it is error free, because that will create a good impression in front of the interviewer or the hiring manager, whosoever is shortlisting the CVs. So you have to understand that you send your resume and you get a call, or you just apply for say a job on LinkedIn or Naukri.com or wherever, even timesjob.com. There's a huge process after that. They might receive say 100 CVs in a day. What makes your CV stand out that they shortlist your CV? So the first thing that as a hiring manager the person would see is if you have studied the organization and the job description well, and you can match those words in the next session. So this was largely about resume. The format I'll share with Tina ma'am because it's in my system. Do you guys have any question in this section? CV? Resume rather. Anyone? All clear? Good class.
I would like to point out here that most of the, or rather I would say the very common mistake that students make in their CV, as you were talking about the language and the format that they have to adopt, is that when they write their name, they always use small letters. Sometimes their first name is in capital letter, their surname is in small letter. Those kind of mistakes are very commonly seen in the CVs which I receive constantly from the class.
Okay.
So I would like you to please address this problem here.
Yeah, definitely. So, ma'am, Krishna ma'am, this largely comes under the gambit of grammar, What kind of where do you have to use the caps lock, where do you have to use the, small words. So, especially commas, full stops, punctuations, these are the things that you really need. And also the names of the organizations. So, say for example, if you have worked for, say an NDTV, okay, you can't say N in caps and then DTV in small. It has to be all caps. So ensure that you always go to the website of these organizations, because that is where you get the actual information how the organization is using it. Forget how the world is using it. See what the organization is using it and then use it. That would be the best thing to do. So obviously, as ma'am said, punctuations is very important, where you use a comma. When it comes to comma, there is one thing that's very confusing. What happens is that because we in India are used to American English, British English, and the world is moving towards American English. So there's a lot of confusion there, what you need to do. So again, I would say, either stick to one thing, no matter what, I will use American English, okay? But if you want to oscillate between American and British, go to the website, go to the job description, you will see the kind of language that they use. So say for example, organization. Organization with an S is British English, organization with a Z is American English. Similarly, comma, there's an Oxford comma, which is like, say for example, how do I say it? Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So there will be a comma after Tuesday, which is Oxford comma, which is in British English. But if you are using American English, it will be Monday, comma, Tuesday and Wednesday. There is no comma after and. Someone said, I think, after and. There is no comma after and. There is never a comma after and, rather.
But I used to write the content over the Grammarly. So that Grammarly always suggested that.
After and?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I've seen that.
I think you should report it to Grammarly. Because there is no English rule which says an comma after an and. Anyway, so next section for us is the cover letter. So obviously, because nowadays it's mostly online, you'll be emailing your job application and your CVs, and most likely you'll be attaching your resumes. So a cover letter is basically an introduction of you that you need to give to the interviewer or to the hiring manager. Earlier they used to be, people used to go and actually give hard copies of CVs to news channels and newspapers. Obviously, we have passed that era, but it is like generally about 250 to 350 words, at the most 400, depending if they are asking specifics in the cover letter. So when you're applying for a job, they will say, send us your resume and cover letter highlighting so and so. The job application itself might say it. But even if it doesn't say, ensure that with your resume you add a cover letter. So what all do you need to do? Exactly. So the key elements, what are the key elements? What is the purpose? Why are you applying for this job? What is your purpose? Clarity, it needs to come from the language that you use, that you're clear about the requirements of the job. You have clarity in your head. Because you guys are still in a very nascent stage, so obviously there's certain discounts that you get at this stage, but obviously not beyond a point. Qualification, obviously, if you're qualified for the job, if there are basic minimum requirements for a job, and if you are not eligible for it, very, very slim chances of them looking at your CV. It's like you're applying for a course and the minimum requirement is 45%. So if you're 44%, doesn't matter to them. They will not look at your application. Then of course, what is the value that you can bring to the job? These all are the pointers that you ensure that you put in your cover letter. Okay. Then of course, I'll tell you certain specific words which you can use in your cover letter, and also when you're looking for a job description. Job descriptions generally are also, so they tell you about the role, what kind of a role is it, and also about the organization. So try picking certain words from that job description itself. The small kind of a trick kind of a thing, it works. So at least it tells the interviewer कि आपने study किया है, not just woke up one day and said, okay, let me send my resume. You actually studied what they are looking for. And then of course the word length, generally not beyond 250, 350 words. And then of course basics, you start with a salutation. You address it directly to the hiring manager. So your cover letter needs to address directly to the hiring manager. It's generally mentioned in the CV. So on the job description, it's mostly mentioned that who would be the person who would be interviewing. And if it is not mentioned, then always address it to the HR manager or the hiring manager. You can always write HR manager / hiring manager. So you need to address it, you need to make a slightly personal kind of a connection with the hiring person. Okay, so that's that. And also ensure that in these 250, 350 words, you don't repeat yourself. Don't become redundant in 350 words. I'll give you certain examples after this. This is like a structure of a cover letter, like an introduction. So you can divide it into, say, 3 paragraphs, okay? 300 words, 120 words per paragraph, or 100, 200, 100, depending on if you have enough material to cover in that. As I said, always address your cover letter directly to the hiring manager or the head of the HR. And then begin with the position that you're applying for. Like, hi, so and so, I'm writing to express my interest in the position of a content writer or a camera person. As advertised on your website or advertised on your LinkedIn page. So it will also create a connection from where you have got the job recommendation. And then of course your skills, and then one line stating how it will help the organization. So as I said, I'm writing to express my interest in the position of a camera person as advertised on your website. My previous studies in the journalism school and the unique skills I've developed through my work or through my projects, because you will be applying it for the first time. So in your case, experience is still something that you can't do. Then of course, please find enclosed my resume or CV for your consideration. Now there are two things. People write, please find the attached or please find attached. There are two ways of writing it. So please find attached. Please find attached my resume for your consideration. Then after your introduction, you go to the letter content and give slightly more details about it. Then you refer to them to your resume and your CV. As you can see from my CV, I'm extremely passionate about the work with say 2 months of internship working in the sector. I believe the knowledge that I have gained during this time will make me a good candidate or a perfect candidate or a suitable candidate for it. So these are the words that you can use. Obviously, use short sentences, short paragraphs, so it's not to bore the other person, always. And then no negative examples. Concentrate writing about, just ensure that you're conveying that you're passionate about the job, you're passionate about the work, and you understand what you're applying for. Make sure that your cover letter and your resume kind of match up, and the job description that they have done. All these three things needs to be in sync with each other so that the hiring manager or the interviewer knows that what you're doing, you have clarity in your head. One thing that I have realized over the years, after taking interviews and giving a lot of interviews also, and believe me, I've seen a lot of rejection also. So I've learned it the hard way also. You need to have clarity in your head. Never go silent in a job interview. It's just a side tip that I'm giving you. Don't go silent in a job interview. Always ensure that you have something to contribute. It may not be exactly what they might be looking at, but at least that it tells them that you're proactive and they are ready to learn. So there is a thing in science which is called freeze, flight, or fight responses. So it's basically how your brain responds, and it has come from evolution. We have got it from the reptiles. So if you are silent, it tells that your brain works in the freeze mode, and it might affect your productivity also. So these are the things the hiring manager knows. Largely most of the hiring managers understand these things because they are trained in this. Because they are trained in hiring people. They are trained to understand how you talk, how you walk, what kind of hand movements, your gestures, your finger movements, everything is noticed in interviews, and especially if you go towards a higher positions. Okay. So these are some basic commonly used phrases and words. Passionate, perfect candidate, suitable candidate, ideal candidate, dedicated, hardworking. Team, last two are very important, team player and respect deadlines. So if you are not a team player, no matter how good a worker you are, beyond a point, if you are not a team player, they might not be interested in having you in their team. So ensure that you groom yourself into a good team player. Yeah, please.
But these points are all not cliche. मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा repeatedly used words हैं, so why they would want us ना कि हम.
So there is always a recall value. Sorry, your name please.
I'm Soumya.
Soumya. So there are certain things which are how to explain it to you. What do you like to eat?
What do you?
What is your favorite Indian food?
Paneer.
Very cliche, right? Exactly. So you have to give a sense of familiarity also to the hiring manager. You know, you can go ahead and use all sorts of words from thesaurus and all sorts of dictionaries, but this will help them. It is like have you seen any of those? In Matrix, there are certain numbers which are highlighted, right? Exactly like that. You write your cover letter 400 words. You use certain words and they will shine in the hiring manager's eyes. So this is like those little magnets that you put out there in your cover letter. So even if it is cliched, it gives a sense of familiarity to the hiring manager or to the interviewer. So initially, in your initial years of your career, what do you have to show to the hiring manager? Nothing practically, right? So how do you get their attention? Once you are, so same example, if, and at the risk of sounding maybe pompous also about it, after 14 years, I might not even bother about writing a cover letter. This is my CV, have a look at it. But initially, when I was 1 year, 2 year into the profession, I didn't have any work to show. I haven't proved myself that way. So what do I do? Okay, so I think we have given you as much information as I could about resume and cover letter. Any question in any of those sections? All clear? So do one thing, go online, look for one job application, one job description that you think works best for you. Okay? And send it to Tina ma'am along with the link of that job description. And what is that job that you will be applying for with this resume or CV and cover letter. Now of course LinkedIn, we have already had a small chat about it. None of you are practically using LinkedIn, effectively rather using LinkedIn. Obviously job search is there because nowadays, especially in the last 3-4 years, a lot of organizations have moved from Naukri.com, timesjob.com, even their own websites for that matter. They obviously post, but hiring manager, HRs, talent acquisition people, they very regularly and very diligently use LinkedIn to search for talent. So your profile needs to shout, literally. Like, sorry, what's your name?
Anish.
Sorry?
Anish. Yeah.
Anish, okay. So as Anish was saying that, we use basic words or cliched word. So in a world which we are living at this point, where there's so much competition, everyone is doing everything practically, especially now with YouTube channels and Instagrammers, YouTubers, everyone is doing everything. I'm sure all of you know BBK Wines. Yeah? So even as a self-employed person, So even as a self-employed person, he needs a LinkedIn profile. It's kind of how you brand yourself. It's like branding yourself. So don't think of a LinkedIn profile as just your CV. It's like not your online CV only. It's how you create yourself into a brand. Even if you're applying for a job, even if you're not a self-employed person. So say for example, Rajdeep Sardesai. How many of you knows Rajdeep Sardesai? One person in the entire class? Rajdeep Sardesai, 4-5 people. How many people are we here? About 30 people. Guys, know the people from your industry first. That would be my suggestion looking at the response. Know the people who are there in your industry. How will you work with them if you don't even know them? Rajdeep Sardesai is one of the biggest names in the industry. And only 5 people have raised their hands. And you guys are in 3rd year, most of you? Most of you. So yeah, definitely you guys need to see who are the people. Ravish Kumar? Good. So Ravish is with NDTV for God knows since when. Rajdeep has been going from one place to another. But they have a personal brand also that they have created over the years. So we know Ravish does a certain kind of a stories, even if he is an employee for NDTV. So even if you are an employee, you have to create your own personal brand. It will also give you the confidence that's required for a job application. So if you know you are good at something, you know that okay, I do still photography, but I only do landscape. Like I do everything, but landscape is something where I shine. So no one can stop me when it comes to landscape. Since LinkedIn is a professional platform, obviously you know a basic email address is what you need. And another thing which is not a mandatory thing from LinkedIn, but I would suggest that if you're starting to create a LinkedIn profile, ensure that you have a good headshot. So you can get it clicked, and these days with smartphones and iPhones that everyone has, most of students, it's very easy to get a good, nice headshot. Ensure that the background of the picture is clean, so that you come across as a professional in that picture, because that is the first thing that they will see. If there is no picture, obviously there is a section for a headline in LinkedIn. So what do you write there? What do you write in that headline? I think 25 people have LinkedIn profiles here. What you have written? Any of you can tell me? In your headline?
Usually in mass communication and journalism from GDS IPU.
Digital marketing, content writing, let's connect.
Digital marketing,
Content writing,
content writing.
let's connect.
Let's connect. Let's connect. So it's like, even if you don't write yourself, LinkedIn will give it to you.
I was actually, learning the course from the Udemy about the marketing. So
Right.
from there I got this strategy.
Okay.
So it helps the people to push themselves to connect with the.
Right. So what you do, like in your resume, you write your name and your core competency. So say for example, Tina ma'am will write her name and say assistant professor, Delhi Metropolitan Education, right? So that's her current job, right? If I write, I might say Supriya Agarwal, researcher for Indian heritage. If you write the person who said digital marketing, I would suggest content writer and digital marketer instead of digital marketing and content writing, right? So that's your competency and skill. So you have to see. So you have to see the difference between a noun and a verb, and these are the little things that matter. Okay. Then of course there is a summary section. Use about 2-3 paragraphs and talk about your mission, your goals, and your expertise in more details. There is a summary section just after your profile and your activity section. There is a summary section where you can write what all you can do, what all you have done, and what all that you want to do. So say for example, I would write that. I'm a writer and editor for Indian Heritage and like to research more about the lost temples of India. You have to regularly update because the industry is constantly changing, your job search may constantly change, right? So you have to constantly evolve your LinkedIn profile. You can't just make it once and just let it be for years and then of course your relevant education and your work experience. If there is any, you can also add your internships and trainings. There's a different section for trainings and internships, and also volunteer if you have done any volunteering work. I would suggest add that also. Education, of course, LinkedIn by default will take it in descending order. So the recent one first, and then of course descend it to the last one, like your first one. So what I would suggest is that going forward, you know, this most likely you will be going for your first jobs. So you guys have done your internships. Write a line or two about the kind of work that you have done in your internships, if you guys have done any internships. Similarly, for your work experience, if you in future, you know, after 4-5 years, if you switch your jobs, if you switch your profession for that matter, what was the kind of work that you were doing? Like in my profile, if we get to see this today, I have mentioned that the kind of magazines I've handled, the kind of projects that I've handled, the kind of people I've interviewed. So I've interviewed Boman Irani, I've interviewed Salim Suleiman. So I've mentioned all that. So these are your highlights, and always break it into paras. So you know you are highlighting it. Don't include it in one para because no one is going to read it after 2-3 lines. But if you break it, so say for example, if I break it in my freelance work, interview with Boman Irani, okay, or interview with the chairman of the National Human Resource Commission. Year. So they understand the kind of work that you can bring to the table. So do those kind of things in your LinkedIn profile. And then in LinkedIn profile, there's a section where you can add your skills. Content writing, copywriting, camera person, graphics, video editing, color correction. So you can add those and then ask your network, ask the people that you have connected with on LinkedIn to give you endorsements. So say for example, 10 people say that, okay, Soumya is good at content writing. 10 people are saying it. So when I look at your profile from a hiring manager perspective, I say, I might think, okay, let's at least talk to this person. Not that they will not do it if you don't have it, but having it will give you an additional edge. Okay, so always ask your networks to give you endorsements, and then request for recommendation. In your case, I would suggest obviously teachers. Your teachers can give you recommendations on the project that you have worked in if they are on LinkedIn. Going forward in your career, I would suggest your managers, even your colleagues can give you recommendations. They can write 2-3 things about you that you are good at. So it kind of add value to your profile. These are little. Obviously, you can add your education, you can add your professional experience, you can add a profile picture. All that you can do, but these things kind of create a network for you. So say for example, take that liberty to say it, but let's say Amrish sir writes 2 lines about any of you on your LinkedIn profile. Imagine the kind of value it will create for you guys. So the people who know Amrish sir, and if he says that Amrish sir is saying that this person is good at something, must be good at that. So those kind of things that you can do, and also customize profile URL. LinkedIn gives you an option. Ensure that it's easy, and you don't have to. You can just give that link to anyone. You can add that link in your resume also. So along with your name and your core competency, just put LinkedIn and hyperlink the link there. You guys, I'm sure you know already how to do that in Word. Even in your Gmail signatures, you can do it. So in your Gmail signatures also you can do it. Right? So these are some basic things that will make for a good LinkedIn profile. Okay? Now how to network on LinkedIn and how to find jobs. Start with your inner circle. So once you create an account on LinkedIn with your email address or your phone number, LinkedIn will automatically start telling you the people you can connect with based on your interaction with your emails. Obviously you can start with yourself, like almost like 50-40 people. You will have a decent network, and then of course once you get that network, then start connecting with the second and third degree connections. So say for example you have Vishal sir in your LinkedIn network. And then from Vishal sir you can reach me. From me you can reach maybe someone else. So that's how the networking works, like any other social media network. The only thing what LinkedIn does, I can restrict people sending me request after third degree. So someone in Vishal's profile can send me a request, but someone in Soumya's profile might not be able to send me. So that's the only thing that LinkedIn gives you an option. Obviously there is a premium subscription for that, but I don't think so at this point that's required for you. Then search for industry leaders using keywords. So you can write, say, NDTV anchor, Z News editor, National Geographic photographer, BBC cinematographer. These are, so what आप क्या ढूंढ रहे हो basically, you know, what is it that you're looking for, किससे connect करना है, और randomly connection request भेजने से doesn't work also. So which is why you need to have that kind of a profile, which, so if you send say a connection request to a National Geographic cinematographer or a photographer, there might be people who will accept, but they will say, why should I allow this person in my circle? What it is that they want to learn something from me, then you can follow them. But there's a section where you can write a message to them. So if you have certain specific request, I would suggest go ahead and state it. Be slightly selfish about it. Maybe slightly selfish, be slightly upfront about it. In a very layman's language, I would say be slightly besharam about it. That's what you, that will land you somewhere. Otherwise, if you think, oh no, what the other person will think, they will think something or the other. But you have to be selfish about your career. And that's, because once you're selfish, then you get that fire in you. No matter what, I need to get this. 10 times, okay. After that, what? The person can block you at the most. They can't do anything beyond that. But simultaneously work on your skills also. So don't think I will network and I will get everything. Simultaneously work on your skills so that your LinkedIn profile, you constantly start updating your LinkedIn profiles also. So if you are a photographer, you may have a website of your own, you may not have a website. These days it's very easy to get a website for yourself. You can always have it and put it on your LinkedIn, and simultaneously you can, you know, write something about photography, or if you've clicked some really great picture, just put it on your LinkedIn and let the world see it, you know. So be ensure, like on Facebook obviously it's more personal, on Instagram it's more personal, but on LinkedIn ensure that the post or the stuff that you share is relevant to what you're looking for. It's relevant to your skills. Don't write, okay, you know, I lit 15 diyas on Diwali. No one wants to see it on LinkedIn. Right? It may work on Instagram, good diya pictures, but do not work on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Okay, and then you can also start resharing. So say for example, if you want to connect with an editor or say a hiring manager in say Times of India, start following them. If you find something very interesting, start resharing it, comment on it, like on it. As I said, start connecting with those people on an intellectual level. It should not be, you know, this person is liking my every post, no matter what, kya kuch bhi relevant bhi hai to bhi chal raha hai. You know, because they also know, they also understand these things. So be very specific about it. That's very important. And then ask for help. Don't feel shy to ask for help. As I said again, be selfish about your job search. That's the only thing that will land you somewhere. Ask for help, ask for recommendations. I remember I took a class last year, I still get messages from students. Because that the person needs to see that you're persuasive enough, that you're serious enough about your career. You might have to, in the initial years, I would say initial 3-4 years, there might be a lot of to and fro, there might be a lot of struggle, but once after 4 years, 5 years, you would have established yourself, and that will then your work will speak for you. Right now, you will have to speak for yourself. So be slightly upfront about it and do not hesitate to ask for help. Like even on LinkedIn, if you know someone and you say for example, you have your cousin on LinkedIn, okay, you have added your family also, which is fine if they are good professionals, you can always add them also. And you see that your cousin's classmate or there's someone in your cousin's connection who is a hiring manager in an organization that you want to apply for. Go ahead and ask your cousin for a recommendation. Or your friend or your ex-colleague. Do not hesitate to ask for help. That's a mistake I have done in my career, so I can say it. And that time, I think when we started, there was hardly any LinkedIn or there was not even Facebook at that time when we started our careers. So you guys, in a way, obviously I would say there's a lot of competition because everyone is doing everything and everyone is out there on the internet. But I think for you guys, there's a lot of opportunity also if you know how to grab it correctly. There's a lot of work out there. I always keep saying it. There is no dearth of work. Even in the media industry, people say that there is no work. What do we do? Trust me, I say no to projects because I don't have that much of time to do it. So it's how persuasive you are, how serious you are. And when I say serious, it's not about go ahead and wear a kurta and be very serious about it. Serious about your work. Even if it is fun work, you have to be dedicated towards this. I mean, this is a separate gyan that I'm sharing with you all, but trust me, it works. Okay. So even if you do that with LinkedIn, let's say LinkedIn we create a resume. How do LinkedIn do it? You will have to provide the information, right? Exactly the same point. So if you have the information already with you and you know the kind of information that you want to put out there, you use LinkedIn resume, you don't use it, doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Huh? Yeah.
ऊपर कर देना.
So now, I have this question with you. So, as you said that you worked with, you have interviewed Pawan Irani and other professionals as well. So, like in highlights, if we have to mention that, so can we like highlight that, or if we can put that in bold or in caps? Does that thing work?
So I would suggest go ahead and do it, no problem on that. If the platform is giving you an option, that you have to check because I doubt LinkedIn does that. So if you're putting your work experience, there's a description that you can put. In that you can highlight it. When I say highlight it, obviously put it in a separate line, put it separately so it stands out. If LinkedIn is giving you an option to bold and italicize this, go ahead and do it, no harm in that.
Only specific words.
Don't do that.
Okay.
I would suggest that don't highlight or bold words in a sentence. Either go for a full sentence, like interview with Pawan Irani. That I can do it, not just Pawan Irani. Doesn't work.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. See, they have different algorithms that works differently. Okay, so this is a second degree profile, which is so can you see the headshot? That got specifically clicked for LinkedIn. You might not need it for Facebook, you might not need it for Instagram, you may need it, but I specifically got this clicked for LinkedIn, and obviously try to be slightly formal because though our industry really doesn't work like that, it's always good. Especially if you're applying for international positions. If you want to apply on international position, international market if you want to work for. As you see, my headline says writer and researcher with a focus on heritage and food. So that's the key area that I work in. So anyone who comes to my profile knows that this person works in so and so area or genre. This hashtag, you can see, talks about food, travel, healing, heritage and food history. So these are the hashtags that I've used. I think that worked for me. And because my focus is heritage, there's a picture of Banaras in the background image. So you can use this also to highlight. You can create a small customized graphic that say graphic designer, content writer, camera person. You can have a camera if you're a camera person. These are very little things that make for a good LinkedIn profile. And there are so many online tools these days. So Canva is there. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. Canva, you get a lot of free templates, you get a lot of so many options that are there that you can create your LinkedIn profile, even your Instagram profile for that matter. And I would suggest for a lot of people who are photographers, if you want to pursue photography or cinematography for that matter, Instagram can also be a good tool for your portfolio. So it can be a good source for portfolio. You can put your pictures and you can make your profile public on Instagram and use that link also as your portfolio link. Okay. Ma'am, can you scroll down? A little more. Yeah. So can you see this featured? So these are the articles that I have written, and I have decided to use 5 of them, which are about food. So my profile says writer and researcher on food, and the featured says food, right? I keep on changing it every month or every week, or if I write on a good subject, I think I want to highlight it. That's also I do. Okay. So you can add as many as you can. So if you can see. So as I said, I have kept my about section very simple. Okay. So I've written I'm an editor, writer, photographer. I run a heritage weblog which is called the Humming Notes. So as I didn't tell you about this, I run a website which is called the Humming Notes, which is all about Indian heritage. The website that I own. And as a freelance writer, I have written for publications, including Outlook Traveler and etc. etc. And then of course I've edited a few books for Bloomsbury India, which has published Harry Potter also in the UK. Then of course, your section, your experience section. So even in this, you can add links. So can you see, I've added links even from the Humming Notes. I've added these links. You can go to these links. These are the things that I want to highlight. I can keep changing it, and that's the best part about it. It's not that you have done it once and you can just now leave it. Similarly, someone was asking about highlighting something, right? This is how I do it. I kind of make bullet points about it. You were asking about it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah. So of course, LinkedIn doesn't give. I don't think so. LinkedIn does. Maybe now it has started, maybe, but I kind of put it in bullets. So it's easier for the other person to know instead of reading the entire paragraphs. I keep it very concise. Then of course, one after the other. And then of course, education. So recently I did a certification from Harvard X, which is the online for Harvard University, which is on Buddhism. So obviously, these kind of things that you want to put if you are doing a certification like that. And then of course, my journalism degree and everything. So if you see, this is the endorsement I was talking about. So 42 people apparently say that I'm good at copy editing. So if a prospective hiring manager sees it, they might think that, okay, let me at least look at the profile of this person. These are the people, these are the some skills that I've been recommended for. And then of course, this is the kind of recommendation that you can seek for. And you can give also recommendations. So you can give also recommendation, you can seek for recommendations also. This is one of my senior who has written some good things about me apparently. So you can also give recommendations to your fellow students, your friends, even your juniors as you go senior. I would suggest continue doing it. I also do that. And then of course languages, if you know. And this is if you want to show about it. these are some of the causes that I work for: art and culture, civil rights, education, and human rights. So, say for example, if I'm applying for a job and that organization is very high into human rights or civil rights, they have a CSR which works in human rights and civil rights. I think, okay, this person is in sync with our mission. I'm not saying that this kind of thing, and I don't want to, give you guys false hopes or something like that, but this is at least get you noticed, this at least gets you an interview, and then it's up to you. After that, your CV, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, they will land you interviews, they can land you interviews, but after that it's all on you. So try using these little tips that I've given you, and then of course you have to create your resume and cover letter. You have to send it to Trina ma'am by 7th of December. And LinkedIn profile, I think I still leave it to you guys. I'll be happy to connect with any of you who thinks that they want to connect with me on LinkedIn.
We cannot connect until we do not put your email ID in.
So you can write my email ID. It's AGAR WL dot Supriya SUPRIYA @gmail.com. I repeat, it's AGARWL. Okay, guys. So this is my small effort, and this is a second degree profile, so you're not able to see a lot of information, which is still hidden for my first degree connections. But if we connect, obviously we'll be able to see more of it. You can actually decide. So I have hidden my surname for second degree connection. If you want to show it, you can go ahead and show it, because I on a personal level I don't believe in that. So it doesn't matter to me if I show my surname or not. So yeah, that's it. Anything else? Any questions, guys? Great. Thanks a lot. I hope I didn't bore you much. So are you sure there are no more questions?
Yes.
If there are, please ask now. And from the next time when we ask you for your CVs, they better be updated and as professional as ma'am has taught you today. So thank you so much, Supriya ma'am, for taking time out of your schedule today and coming all the way to the college to yes, can I have some silence, please? Yeah. So thank you so much, Supriya ma'am, for teaching our students about the essentials of CV making and LinkedIn profile creation. That was a very important session. It was very necessary for our students to get acquainted with that. So thank you, ma'am. I would also like to thank the management of DME for allowing us to hold this event. Especially this is amongst the first offline events that we are holding after a long time. I would like to thank Dr. Amri Saxena and Dr. Susmita Bala for guiding us all the way. I would also like to thank Mr. Vishal Sahai and Dr. Krishna Pandey, who are also part of the placement team with me. And thank you to the technical team. Thank you, Kalidas, for the photography, and thanks to the placement coordinators for coordinating with the students and putting this up together. And thank you, students, for attending the session today, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.